We are here today to talk about sustainability in luxury, a collective conscience that has catalyzed some phenomenal voices who are activists in this dialogue about conscious consumerism. I'm so excited to have with me friends, some very dear friends from all over the world who are co-activists, and we share a common purpose and journey towards the health of the people and the environment. My name is Bandana Tewari. I'm a lifestyle journalist. I'm a sustainability activist, and I am delighted and grateful to be part of the Luxe life. Sustainability is about compassion. It's about believing in the ecosystem, the ecology. It's about mindfulness. It's about biodiversity and the interconnectedness that we have with all species, not just the human species.
Mind, body, and spirit, and to really just be connected overall in any and everything that you do, from economic to your internal system.
Consideration, care, and curiosity. I truly believe that you have to ask a multitude of questions and be curious in order to make considerate choices, and of course to take action with absolute care in order to be sustainable.
For me, the idea of luxury with purpose is very, very deep-seated in our sense of humanity. When I traveled around the country to do this project called Project Renaissance for Vogue magazine, I was in the thick of being in artisanal villages, in the artisanal clusters, and literally seeing firsthand how things are made by hand. And that's a big part of the Indian legacy of made by hand. And then having them collaborate with international designers who have valued workmanship from India for eons, to have them collaborate made me truly realize how little we value what comes from our backyard.
Luxury with purpose means having integrity with how something is made. It means having integrity with the people and planet in which the people who made it and the planet in which it came from. So treating the people and the planet with respect. And interestingly enough, I think that luxury with purpose is these luxury brands. You have to spend so much money in order to participate in their worlds, whether it's Hermes or Balenciaga or Prada or whatever that looks like. And I think the idea of luxury with purpose is changing that, because the KPIs of fashion are changing in and of itself. And everybody in the industry is now starting to understand that the massive amounts of overproduction and overconsumption can't happen anymore. So we're really starting to have to rethink those models.
Fashion revolution, essentially, it's all about encouraging curiosity amongst the consumer as well. We as consumers have to ask and demand more transparency, more sustainability. And it's really important to be curious about the brands that you're wearing or purchasing. It's important to ask questions, and it's important to do something and take some action if you're not sure if there are blurred lines or some hidden sides of a brand that you want to know more about. So we urge consumers and we ask people to ask the question, who made my clothes?
A crucial starting point for brands and manufacturers to get started in sustainability is collaboration. This is an approach that really takes everyone that's involved, all stakeholders. We work across a shared supply chain. We use common resources, materials, design methodologies. In order for us to truly achieve the goals we're looking for when it comes to sustainability, brands need to start collaborating even more deeply on the programs that they're running together.
Reusing those materials or reconstituting those materials, whether it's a simple upcycle, changing from a t-shirt to a pillowcase, or a t-shirt to a pair of shorts for your child, or something like that, or actually doing a breakdown, a breakdown of the fibers or a breakdown of the materials, and reconstituting and remaking those things. So there's that in a very, very basic form is the idea of circularity.
There is no doubt that the pandemic has had a big impact on this industry. Our own work has been affected by our availability to roll out our programs within facilities in regions where operations may have shut down, or there are health or wellness concerns around being able to actually have people come into those facilities. In many cases, the industry has also canceled orders and reduced the amount of production that's been happening over the last year. So that impacts not only on the ground programming, but it also impacts the human lives of everyone who's engaged in the entire value chain of the fashion industry.
I believe during the pandemic, our mindset has changed completely because we are in the midst of a great awakening. Everybody's waking up, everybody's realizing that there's much more to their lives besides a sleep, eat, entertainment cycle. So what you can do right now in this moment to change that shift and to continue awakening, because the people who are awakening are going to be a part of the new earth, is to just control your mind, because that's the only thing that you can do right now. Is control your mind. And when your mind is at ease, you're going to be able to help other people in that way.
Post-pandemic, sustainability should be, in an ideal world, at the core of our workplaces, livelihoods, economies. It should serve as a centre point, not just as a nice thing to do or a bonus round of good for people and planet. In order to truly thrive, we have to be more sustainable. So post-pandemic, let's hope that there's a massive shift into a more long-term thinking and approach to business.
The link between sustainability and healing is really simple. To be able to sustain the environment, to be able to sustain anything else around you, you have to be able to go inward and sustain your emotional well-being. So it is just really simple to always check in with yourself before you check in with the world, because what is going on the inside of you, if it's not stable, it's not going to be able to help anything else.
The idea of individual change starts from your own choices. So it's about empowering your own choices. We think that, it's a collective. If the collective does something, but the collective is made out of units, individuals like you and me. So what are simple things that we can do? In my opinion, and this is what I practice every day as an activist, is by all means, go and buy things that you love. But buy things of value. Buy things that you're going to keep close to your heart with you. You're not going to dump it because you worn it once and you've got to be on Instagram and wear something new again and again. That's a consumerist fallacy. Repeat your clothes. Buy things that can last. Please support your indigenous cultures. We all come from cultures where we've had crafts and arts that gave identity to our cultures. So invest in that.
Sustainability in fashion can be tough and complex, but when it comes to actually looking at the clothes we're wearing and what's in our closet, I think we can have a lot of fun. So myself, for instance, what I've been doing is really spending the last year where I've been at home, getting intimate with what's in my drawers, what's in my closets, beginning to understand better where things were made, turning them inside and looking at the label. I think one of the first things we can do to be more sustainable is to really treat our clothing with value, not like a commodity, to understand, what is this material made out of? I wonder how that was made. What country did it come from? When we start to do this, I think we have a whole different relationship to our clothing. It becomes something that we put a lot of value and cherish. And then the second fun part is trading it with friends, swapping, going to vintage shops. I think once we begin to look at fashion as having greater value, then everything becomes a little bit more creative and delightful when we start thinking about putting together our own sustainable closets and wardrobes.
So some ideas that I've taken on are sharing my clothes with my friends, recycling clothes between family members, or having a little garage sale/swap. Here in Bali, we do a lot of clothing swaps. So if you have a friend that you know has similar tastes to you, just switch clothes. I like to buy vintage now instead of new. And especially coming from a luxury fashion world, I'm not buying into animal products anymore. So what I do is I look for brands that give back to the environment as a for-profit model. So brands that are giving back, brands that are vegan, brands that are not using animal products, and also considering the environment. It takes multiple gallons to make one t-shirt. So things that you really need, you should go for, and always support local and new upcoming designers and people that really need it.
You are, I mean, we're just talking about environmentally and like the good that you're doing for, by not, purchasing or buying into a system which could potentially be detrimental for people and for planet. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I love it. The second is you find so many incredible gems. And when you are doing a clothing swap and you build a community around it, and you have a good idea of the people that are going to be bringing clothing to the swap, you have some really fun opportunities to access things that you may not have ever been able to, have access to before. So there's really some really fun, cool surprises and things in people's closets that, are really special to them, but they're ready to let go of.
Some fun DIY tips that I have, or a couple of methods that I've picked up along the way through fellow fashion revolutionaries, are if you've got an old pair of holy tights, and I've got many of them, they make for great hairbands. So my hair has been held up by some old tights. So that's a great bit of use for some old holy tights. Don't throw them in the bin. There's a lot more you can do with them. Some of the fashion revolutionaries I know also make stuffed dolls for their children from them. So old fabric can serve to be a great hairband, and you can have all sorts of headgear from old fabric. So have fun with your clothes and make something out of nothing. Surprise yourself and get those old pieces of clothing and get some treasures out of them. Because remember, broken is beautiful.